if I were to give you four attributes that manifested in relation to the Spirit of Christ, the first would be that of humility. Old covenant, God was a God of judgment. New covenant, Jesus brought grace and truth. And he didn't come with thunder and lightning and rumblings and earthquakes. He came first with humility. Next was meekness. What? God is meek. This whole characteristic thing turned the world upside down, turned their thinking upside down. Jesus came and he said, blessed are the meek. Blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are the poor. What? Blessed are you when men shall revile you, speak all manner of evil against you falsely. What? Wait a minute. How can I be blessed like that? See, he brought a foolishness that was wiser than man's wisdom. You know, naturally thinking, people tend to lean toward wanting more and more people to think well and speak well of them. And they are more and more popular. But God, on the contrary, says, woe is unto you when all men speak well of you. For so did they, the false prophets. Okay, so our emphasis is humility, meekness. Another one is gentleness. And then another is that of grace. The Spirit of Christ specifically manifested divine nature. Now, this is what we want to emphasize this morning. Divine nature. The divine, that your ticket to the next dimension and next level is not just your know-how or your ability or your giftedness or the strength of your personality. It's okay. All of those things are okay, but that is not the way to the next level. That will get you so far, but never to the next level. Moses had to learn that early. After being trained in the house of Pharaoh, understanding the Egyptian culture and all, he went out to see how his brothers fared. He knew he would be the deliverer. You know the story. Saw them striving. An Egyptian beating a Hebrew. He looked both ways. He killed the Egyptian. He thought perhaps that may be the way that deliverance comes, through natural means. How wrong was he? He had to flee. He had to flee for his life until God broke him down. To where he even told God, like many of us, Lord, I can't talk. I can't do this. But that was just the time that God said, yes, I'm calling you to do this. If I have to have somebody to speak for you, I have Aaron speak for you, but I'm calling you now. See, he doesn't necessarily call you or embrace you in your strength. You're struggling and striving in your own strength, and God kind of steps back until you get tired. He does. He steps back until you say, Lord, I can't do this no more. And that's why you get there where I can't do this no more. God says, thank you. Let me step in now. Because I never called you to do what you can do by yourself. I called you to do what only I could do through you. Help me, Holy Ghost. You see, that's why, again, too, and I said this morning, that's why Jesus spoke in parables, where everyone would hear him, but only certain ones would understand him. Everyone heard him speak, but only certain ones were given to understand the mysteries. I'm speaking to everyone here this morning. I wonder how many are given. How many are in that place where you are given to understand the mysteries as they pertain to your life now? Not just a sermon, not just something to, stir up your emotions, but in relating to the Spirit of God and the Spirit of Christ, where does it relate in your situation? What must you allow God to do come Monday or Tuesday when you get back into an environment that God is seeking to change? And he's saying there's another level for you. There's another dimension for you. But how do you appropriate this? Where does this apply? Have you heard? Do you see? Spirit of Christ. From here on, you won't prosper just asserting your right, just forcing your way. Trying to be the alpha dog. That personality that just got to be number one, that pushes, that's got to govern, that's got to lead. That's nothing wrong with that. That's good to have brought into the boundaries that are necessary. But just to try to rule like that, you will not go any further just asserting your rights, your natural strength, or your natural personality. Anybody ready to rise up into the Spirit? Really to rise up into the Spirit and possess what God has given us by the Spirit, and not just settle. Let me say it this way. I'm going to get you involved here. Look at somebody. Look at them hard. Tell them, I ain't eating. Come on, tell them, I ain't eating. No more crumbs. Come on. The widow, the woman said, even the dogs eat the crumbs. She was willing to settle for the crumbs. But I'm here to declare to you and tell you today, as a child of God and understanding his ways, say it again, no more crumbs. God didn't assign you to crumbs. That's not your portion, the crumbs. You are supposed to pull up your chair to the table where the feast is going on. Not wait till the crumbs. That's what the dogs are eating. But in order to do that, you must learn his ways. Moses ultimately learned God's ways. Israel only knew of what God could do. It's one thing to know what a person is capable of. It's another thing to know that person and to know their ways. From this point forward, you will not prosper by asserting your own rights, nor out of your own strength, nor out of your own natural personality. Now, you might have gotten to where you are by that strength. But I tell you, if you catch hold of this, what is being taught right here, right now, if you catch hold of it and have the fortitude to begin to appropriate and apply it in the relationships in your life right now, I guarantee you will see change. And not only change, but you will see God changing things. And where you've been struggling trying to change it for years and years, and you ain't been able to change him yet or her yet, it hadn't happened yet, because you got your hands, your mitts all over it. But when you allow God, God can do what you can't do, what you would never be able to do. God can do it. What do we base that upon? We base it upon the Spirit of Christ. He that hath not the Spirit of Christ is none of his. He that hath not the Spirit of Christ is none of his. The Spirit of Jesus did not lay to his rights. Now, that does not mean, there's a balance. That does not mean that you get kicked around, walked over, pushed around, and all of that is just daily because you're just like a wet noodle. No, you ain't got no sense. That's sort of crazy right there. No, you are who you are, but you're not asserting your rights. You're not imposing your will on others around you to control them to get your way. When people aren't in agreement, you got to be able to deal with it. You got to be able to trust God. You know what God told you. They don't agree. They oppose you. Okay, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to trust God. After God finishes dealing with them, they'll come running out to you. Say, okay. You know, they took the ark from Israel, thinking it was just another piece of merchandise to bow down before Dagon, their god. And they put it at the foot of Dagon as the ark was to be bowing there. But they didn't know what they were messing with. Because when the priest came in the next day, Dagon was falling over on his face. You know, they thought the ark was bowing to Dagon, but Dagon was bowing to the ark. So they set it back up. I'm sure they didn't tell anybody. They set it back up. Went out, came back the next day. Dagon was not only falling over, but his hands and his head was cut off. Come on, tell somebody, don't mess with God. See, there's certain things you don't want to touch. Hear me, I'm going to segue into this because, see, there's certain things that you have messed up messing with it. Help me, Holy Ghost. I done got too deep for some of y'all here. There are certain things at certain point in time you got to leave it alone. The ark, God said, when you see it removed from its place with the Levites, remove from where you are, but keep a distance. Stop trying to settle. Get out of God's business. Here, God told you to pray about it and leave it there. You prayed about it, but you picked it right up. Now you're going to see for yourself. Tell somebody, stay out of God's business. If you really prayed, if you really believed, then that's it. I ain't got to hear nothing. I'm not trying to listen out and see. Did you think? No, I prayed about it. I know. Help me, Holy Ghost. I got any believers in here? Y'all look like y'all just ate or something. Just help me out, Holy Ghost. Me and him as a majority. Come on, God said, let the ark, let it go before you. 2,000 cubits. Don't come near it. So that you will know the way you are to go. Instead of trying to be all up in God's business, trying to do what only God said, stand back. Because the way I'm going, if you stand back, you'll understand the way you're supposed to go. You'll see me making the way for you. You'll see that the breaker has gone before you. But you all anxious and in a hurry and can't wait and don't have no patience and think God done left you out and all that. God said, no, get out my business. See, God's business, God is over in tomorrow already. God is in the next day already. Come on, God's already dealt with Memorial Day. God's already in next week. God knows where your good gold is. God knows exactly the time, the moment, the day of your breakthrough. He's got appointments waiting on you. He said, stay out of my business. I'll reveal it to you. Give me some space to work. Trust me. Watch me so that you'll know the way that you are to go. But you all up in there, you're not going to know. Your mind all worried when you get out of your place, out of your metron, away from the nature and the Spirit of Christ, you start to worry about stuff. You start to fret over stuff. You start to try to figure it out yourself. You lose sleep. You get mad. You get anxious. Your body start to acting up. Relationships go south. All that stuff starts to crowd you. God said, why are you all up in my business? That's my responsibility. Didn't I say I will supply your every need? According to my riches and glory by Christ. You have no control over the priority of events. God will say, I'm going to deal with Z first. You couldn't even think about dealing with Z. You still trying to figure A out. And God said, I'm going to deal with Z. And then I'm going to come back to K. I ain't going to deal with A till later on. You trying to control A. God said, you have no control over the sequence of events. Just roll with Z. Go on down to Z and enjoy Z. Hey, see, Z means the door is open, but you ain't got the money. Lord, it's there waiting on me. I just ain't got no money. But God will open Z before he give you the money.